What is a rival? Is it an enemy, a competitor, or is it something more? Is it the force that defines you, the yardstick that measures your success? For over a century, two companies have been locked in a rivalry so intense, it has defined not just their own industries, but global culture itself. Coca-Cola and Pepsi. The red and the blue, tradition versus the new generation, the classic versus the challenger. Their battle, known as the Cola Wars, has been fought in supermarkets, in restaurants, on television screens, and in the very hearts and minds of billions of people. It's a war of marketing, of flavor, of identity, and like any war, it has rules. Unspoken, perhaps, but understood. You fight hard, you fight smart, but there is a line. This is the story of the day that line was almost crossed, and the story of the one person who never expected to be the gatekeeper of that line. This is not just the story of a crime, it's the story of a temptation, a betrayal, and the most unbelievable alliance in corporate history. This is the story of why Pepsi saved Coca-Cola. To understand the crime, we must first understand the battlefield. The year is 2006. The world is not what it used to be. The dot-com bubble has burst and rebuilt itself. A new company called Google is all-powerful. A video-sharing website called YouTube has just been launched. And in the beverage world, the old kings are feeling a new kind of pressure. For decades, the fight was simple, Coke versus Pepsi. But now, a new consciousness is rising. Consumers are beginning to look at the sugar content on the side of the can. They're turning to bottled water, to health drinks, to exotic fruit juices, and to a new wave of energy drinks that promise more than just a sugar high. Both Coca-Cola and PepsiCo are scrambling. They are no longer just soda companies, they are total beverage companies. They are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to innovate, to find the next big thing. The pressure inside these multi-billion-dollar empires is immense. A single new product, a single successful new brand could be worth billions. A failure could cost just as much. The stakes are, to put it mildly, astronomical. And with stakes that high, the secrets that protect those potential billions are guarded like state secrets. Formulas, marketing plans, launch strategies, these are the crown jewels. Inside Coca-Cola's world headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia, the atmosphere is one of intense, focused pressure. They are developing a new product, something designed to tap into the adult beverage market to compete with the rise of gourmet coffee. It's a dark, rich, coffee-infused cola. It's sophisticated. It's new. They are calling it Coke Black. Millions of dollars in research and development have been poured into it. Its marketing plan is one of the most closely guarded secrets in the company. A leak, especially a leak to their one true rival, would be catastrophic. It would allow Pepsi to create a competing product, to preempt their marketing, to destroy their multi-million-dollar launch before a single bottle ever hit the shelves. The security around Coke Black is, or should be, ironclad. Now let's meet the woman at the center of our story. Her name is Joya Williams. Joya is not a high-level executive. She is not a research scientist in a white lab coat, mixing secret formulas. She is, on paper, a minor player, an administrative assistant, a cog in a machine so vast, she is, by all accounts, invisible. But Joya Williams holds a position of unique and unrecognized power. She is the executive assistant to Javier Sanchez-Lamas, the global brand director for Coca-Cola. This means that while the world sees a secretary, she is, in fact, a gatekeeper. She manages his schedule, she prepares his documents, she sits outside the office where the most sensitive conversations about the company's future take place, and she has access. She has the keys to the file cabinets, she has the passwords, she has the trust of the very people who are building the company's future. Joya Williams is 41 years old in 2006. She's described as intelligent, well-dressed, and professional. She had previously worked at other large Atlanta-based corporations like Georgia-Pacific. She is not a fool. She understands the corporate world. She also, according to later reports, has a taste for the finer things in life, and perhaps a feeling that she is not being compensated for what she is truly worth. Her position is a classic proximity to power scenario. She sees the multi-million-dollar decisions being made, She sees the wealth and the power of the executives she supports, and she sees her own bank account. At some point, a seed of an idea begins to form, a dark, audacious, and incredibly dangerous idea. She is sitting on a goldmine. The confidential documents that pass through her desk, the marketing plans, the product samples, they are just paper to her employers, but to someone else, to a rival, they would be priceless. But Joya knows she can't do it alone. Pulling off a heist of this magnitude requires more than just access. It requires a team. She needs someone to be the front man, someone to make the approach, someone who can handle the transaction without being traced back to her. She recruits 2 accomplices. Their names are Ibrahim Dimson and Edmund Duhaney. Ibrahim Dimson, 30 years old at the time, is the inside man in a different sense. He and Williams have a personal relationship. He's the one she trusts to be the middleman. Edmund Duhaney, 43, is the outside man, the supposed businessman who can lend an air of legitimacy to the deal. Duhaney has a prior criminal record. He had served time in federal prison for drug charges. This is not his first time playing a dangerous game. The 3 of them form a small, tight-lipped conspiracy. Joya is the source, Dimson is the contact, Duhaney is the consultant. Their plan is as simple as it is brazen. Joya Williams, using her high-level access, will begin to meticulously copy the most sensitive documents she can find. She doesn't just get 1 or 2 memos, she gets the entire playbook. We're talking about detailed, internal-only documents marked confidential, highly sensitive. We are talking about PowerPoint presentations detailing the next 18 months of marketing strategy. We are talking about the secret recipe and ingredient information for Coke Black. And then she gets the crown jewel itself, a physical, unreleased sample of the new product, a small bottle of the dark, coffee-infused liquid that Coca-Cola believes will be its next big hit. She walks out of the Coca-Cola headquarters with these items, the crown jewels of a $100 billion empire smuggled out in a simple handbag. The security, so focused on outside threats, had failed to see the threat that was already inside. The team now has the product. All they need is a buyer. And in their minds, there is only one buyer in the world who would pay top dollar for what they have. The one company that has spent 110 years trying to figure out what Coca-Cola is thinking. PepsiCo. Ibrahim Dimson is tasked with making the approach. He can't just call up the CEO of Pepsi. He needs to be careful. He needs to be professional. On May 19, 2006, a thick, official-looking envelope lands on the desk of a high-level executive at PepsiCo headquarters in Purchase, New York. The envelope is addressed to senior management. Inside is a letter. It's written on what appears to be official Coca-Cola letterhead. The letter is from a man calling himself Dirk. Dirk claims to be a high-level employee at Coca-Cola. He claims he has in his possession extremely confidential trade secrets. He describes, in vague but tantalizing detail, the kinds of documents he has: marketing plans, sales projections, and even a new product sample. He makes it clear he is willing to sell this information to PepsiCo. He is, he says, offering a high-level view of the new product, in addition to samples, packaging, and advertising. And he's not just looking for a small payoff. Dirk, we now know, is Ibrahim Dimson, and he is asking for $1.5 million. Now we must pause. We must put ourselves in that room, at that desk, in PepsiCo headquarters. For a century, your company has been number 2. You have spent billions of dollars, hired the brightest minds, all to try and get a single step ahead of your rival. You have clawed and fought for every single percentage point of market share. And now, the keys to the kingdom have been hand-delivered to your door. This is the ultimate temptation. This isn't just a document, it's a weapon. With this, Pepsi could develop a Pepsi Black and launch it before Coke. They could counter-program all of Coke's marketing. They could save hundreds of millions in R&D. They could, in one single move, land a blow that would cripple their rival for years. This is the moment where the entire cola war could be won. All they have to do is say yes. All they have to do is make the call, set up the meeting, and write the check. $1.5 million is a rounding error for a company the size of Pepsi. It's not a cost, it's an investment, the greatest investment in corporate history. The executive holding that letter has a choice, a profound, career-defining, company-defining choice. What would you do? This is the central question of our story. What did Pepsi do? The executive, whose name has been kept private, doesn't celebrate. They don't call a secret meeting of the marketing department. They don't laugh with glee. They do, in fact, exactly what the conspirators never expected. They follow their company's code of conduct. They immediately notify Pepsi's legal department. The legal department, recognizing the massive criminal and ethical implications, is put on high alert. This is not an opportunity, it's a threat. They understand something that Dimson, Williams, and Duhaney do not. Accepting stolen trade secrets is not smart business. It is a federal crime. It's industrial espionage. But more than that, it's a PR time bomb. Imagine if Pepsi did use the secrets and it ever came out. The public backlash would be devastating. The company would be branded as cheaters, as criminals. The reputational damage would wipe out any temporary gain. The decision is made, and it's made swiftly. PepsiCo's legal team picks up the phone, but they don't call the number Dirk provided in the letter. They call the one number Dirk would never want them to call. They call the legal department at Coca-Cola. It is impossible to overstate the shockwave this call must have sent through the Atlanta headquarters of Coca-Cola. Imagine the conversation. "Hi, this is Pepsi." "Yes, that Pepsi. Listen, you're not going to believe this, but we have a letter from one of your employees who is trying to sell us all of your secrets, including a sample of a new drink. We thought you should know." It's the single most bizarre, unexpected, and terrifying call Coca-Cola could have possibly received. Terrifying because it means they have a traitor, they have a leak, the house is not secure. And it's bizarre because the warning is coming from their greatest enemy. Coca-Cola's internal security team, stunned, immediately contacts the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the FBI. This is no longer a corporate dispute. This is now a federal criminal investigation. The FBI, in collaboration with Coca-Cola, devises a plan, a sting operation. They need to find out who Dirk is. They need to confirm the information is real, and they need to catch the conspirators in the act. The FBI has an undercover agent, let's call him Agent Jerry, pose as a high-level Pepsi executive. Jerry is to be the new point of contact for Dirk. Agent Jerry, now acting as the interested buyer from Pepsi, reaches out to Ibrahim Dimson using the contact information from the letter. He sends an email expressing his cautious interest. Dimson, Williams, and Duhaney are ecstatic. They've got a fish on the line, the big one. They begin to communicate. Dimson, still acting as Dirk, needs to prove that his product is legitimate. He emails Agent Jerry photographs of the stolen documents with some information blurred out just to give him a taste. He describes the new product. Agent Jerry, the pretend Pepsi exec, is impressed. He says his bosses are very interested, but they need more. They need definitive proof. Dimson and Williams, growing more confident, decide to escalate. They arrange a good faith drop. Dimson provides the FBI agent with 14 pages of the stolen, confidential Coca-Cola marketing plan. The FBI takes these documents straight to Coca-Cola. A senior executive confirms their worst fears. This is real. This is not a drill. These are the actual highly sensitive marketing plans for Coke Black. The traitor is real, and they have access to the inner sanctum. The investigation goes into overdrive. Coca-Cola's internal security begins a frantic but quiet mole hunt. They need to find out who has access to these specific documents. The FBI, meanwhile, tells Dirk that the documents are great, but the real prize is the product sample. Our R&D guys must have the sample, Agent Jerry insists, and for that, we are willing to pay. A price is negotiated. Agent Jerry offers a down payment of $30,000 in cash in exchange for the rest of the documents and the coveted product sample. Dimson, Williams, and Duhaney agree this is it, the first big payday. A meeting is set. The location, a gate at the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. It's public, it's busy, but it also has security checkpoints, which gives the conspirators a false sense of security. On July 5, 2006, Ibrahim Dimson and Edmund Duhaney head to the airport. Believing they are about to meet a man from Pepsi who will hand them a briefcase full of cash. They have the package, a bag containing the bottle of Coke Black and a cache of the most secret documents in the company's arsenal. The meeting happens. Agent Jerry, the undercover FBI agent, is there. He's wired for sound and video. A team of unseen FBI agents is scattered throughout the terminal, watching. The exchange is made. The bag of secrets for the briefcase of cash. Dimson and Duhaney can practically taste the $1.5 million to come. The moment the exchange is complete, the moment the agent has the stolen property in his hand, the trap is sprung. The unseen FBI agents emerge from the crowd. Dimson and Duhaney are surrounded. They are arrested on the spot. It's over. But the investigation isn't. Who was Dirk? The FBI follows the email trails, the phone records. The web quickly untangles, and it leads them all back to one person. The person with the access. The person who had been identified by Coca-Cola's internal security, who had been captured on surveillance cameras at her desk, meticulously stuffing documents and a product sample into her bag. Joya Williams. Later that same day, FBI agents arrive at Joya Williams' home. She is arrested. The ringleader, the source, the woman who held the keys to the kingdom, is in custody. The fallout is immediate and explosive. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Georgia announces the arrests. The story hits the news, and it is a global sensation. Coca-Cola employee arrested for trying to sell secrets to Pepsi. The media narrative is irresistible. It's a spy thriller, a true crime story, and a corporate drama all rolled into one. Joya Williams, Ibrahim Dimson, and Edmund Duhaney are charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and unlawfully stealing and selling trade secrets. The federal case is ironclad. The FBI has the emails, the photos, the video of the exchange, and the testimony of the undercover agent. And they have the star witness, PepsiCo. The conspirators' defense, if you can call it that, crumbles. There is no plausible deniability. They are caught red-handed. Faced with overwhelming evidence, all three plead guilty. The sentencing hearing is where the true gravity of the crime is laid bare. The prosecution doesn't just paint this as a simple theft. They argue that this was an act of economic warfare that could have caused incalculable damage to Coca-Cola, cost jobs, and destabilized a major American corporation. The judge agrees. Joya Williams, as the ringleader and the one who betrayed her company's trust, receives the harshest sentence. She is sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. 8 years. Ibrahim Dimson, the middleman Dirk, is sentenced to 5 years. Edmund Duhaney, the accomplice, receives a 2-year sentence. The message from the court is clear. Industrial espionage is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a serious, hard time-serving federal crime. But the legal drama is only one part of the aftermath. The corporate drama is just as fascinating. Let's look at the winners and losers. The losers, obviously, are Williams, Dimson, and Duhaney. They gambled, they lost. Their lives are irrevocably changed, all for a payday that never came. Coca-Cola is, in a strange way, both a loser and a winner. They are a loser because the incident was a profound embarrassment. It revealed a shocking vulnerability in their internal security. The most secret company in the world had been betrayed from the inside by an administrative assistant. They were forced to air their dirty laundry in public, and the world now knew all about their next big product, Coke Black. But they were also winners. Why? Because the secrets were never actually compromised. They were returned, and the traitors were caught. The case served as a terrifying and effective warning to any other employee who might be thinking of doing the same. And what about Coke Black, the product that was at the center of this whole affair? Well, it was launched in 2006 as planned, and it was one of the biggest flops in Coca-Cola's history. Consumers found the taste, a combination of coffee and cola, to be bizarre. It was quietly discontinued just 2 years later. In a strange, ironic twist, the secrets Joya Williams stole were, in the end, almost worthless. But the biggest winner of all, the undisputed, undefeated champion of this entire bizarre saga, PepsiCo. Let's analyze why Pepsi's move was so brilliant. By reporting the letter, Pepsi achieved 3 things simultaneously. First, they avoided committing a federal crime. This is the most basic and most important outcome. They stayed on the right side of the law. Second, they reinforced their own corporate culture. They sent an unambiguous message to their own 170,000 employees. We do not cheat. We win on the merits. Our ethics are not for sale. And third, they scored the single greatest public relations victory of the entire cola war. Think about it. They were praised globally for their integrity. They were hailed as a model of corporate ethics. They took the moral high ground, and they did it at the expense of their greatest rival. They got to look like the good guys, while Coca-Cola was exposed as having a chaotic, insecure house. A Pepsi spokesman, in a masterpiece of corporate understatement, gave a quote to the press that perfectly summarized their position. Competition can be fierce, but it must also be fair and legal. We are pleased that the authorities and Coca-Cola were able to resolve this matter. It was a checkmate. Pepsi didn't just win the battle, they won the moral war. They proved that, at least for them, there was a line that would not be crossed. So why did Pepsi save its greatest rival? The cynical answer is that it was a cold, calculated business decision. They did it because getting caught would be worse than any benefit they might gain. They did it for the PR. They did it to avoid jail time. The optimistic answer is that they did it because it was the right thing to do, because the unspoken rules of the game, the very fabric of fair competition, demanded it, because, in the end, they are a company of people who, when faced with a profound moral choice, chose correctly. The real answer, as it so often is probably a mix of both. It was, without a doubt, a self-interested move, but it was one of those rare, beautiful moments in the cutthroat world of capitalism where self-interest and high ethical conduct were perfectly aligned. The story of Joya Williams is a tragedy of greed and miscalculation. A story of a person who so badly overestimated the value of what she was stealing and so fatally underestimated the integrity of her target. But the story of that phone call from Pepsi to Coke is something more. It's a lesson. It's a reminder that a rivalry, no matter how intense, does not have to be a blind, bloodthirsty war. It proved that your greatest rival can also, in a strange and unexpected way, be your greatest protector. Not because they are your friend, but because they understand, better than anyone else in the world, the rules of the game. In the end, Coca-Cola's secret formula was never in any real danger. The true secret that was revealed in 2006 was not a recipe, it was the character of a company, and it was a secret that Pepsi was more than happy to share with the world.